didn't get here by winging it. So why would you approach major renovations that way? Here are the 5 mistakes that even smart, successful people make when they skip proper planning and how to avoid every single one. I'm Blake, built by Becker, and I've been designing luxury custom homes and doing high-end renovations for over 15 years. And I can tell you, having a big budget doesn't protect you from making expensive mistakes. I've seen a $500,000 renovation that looks beautiful but didn't work for the people's lifestyle. And the difference between truly exceptional results and an expensive regret comes straight down to planning or the lack of it. Today, we're walking through the 5 biggest mistakes I see in luxury renovations, mistakes that have nothing to do with budget and everything to do with process. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to avoid every single one of them before you break ground. If you're planning a serious renovation or a custom build, this is going to save you from really expensive mistakes and problems. Mistake number 1, committing to the design you haven't actually seen. Let's start with the biggest one, and this is wild because it happens constantly, even with clients who are detail-oriented in literally every other part of their lives. Someone's planning a major kitchen renovation, 6 figures, beautiful materials, custom everything, and the entire design process is happening on flat paper, 2-dimensional drawings, or maybe even some basic elevations. Everyone's staring at the plans, trying to picture what is actually going to look like in real life. And then the construction begins, and the space gets built, and suddenly it's not what anyone really pictured. You know how simple it is to avoid this? Just asking for 3D renderings up front. Not sketches, not mood boards, not reference photos of someone else's kitchen. Actual renderings of your space with all your dimensions and your specific materials and appliances. Walk through it virtually. See if the scale fits right. Notice if something is going to feel too heavy or cramped. Make changes while they're still free. Most contractors won't do this as part of their standard process. They'll start building based off of 2D plans and figure it out as they go, which works until you realize halfway through that the layout doesn't really flow the way you wanted it to. And at that point, changes are astronomical, and you get that famous word, change order. Get the visualization at the planning stage when you can say, actually, let's shift this 6 inches, or can we make these cabinets a little taller? And it costs nothing to explore options. That's the difference between guessing and knowing. So mistake number 1, committing to your design you haven't actually seen in 3 dimensions, don't do that. Now let's jump into mistake number 2, choosing materials that don't work together. And this one is sneaky because people think they're being thoughtful about their choices. Like someone sees a marble slab at a stone yard and it's absolutely stunning, so they commit to it. Then separately, they're at the tile showroom and find this gorgeous backsplash tile, also very beautiful. Then they're picking out cabinet hardware online, and that looks great too. Each individual piece is excellent, and then everything gets installed and the space feels disconnected. The marble reads too cool against the warm wood tones. The hardware disappears against the color of the cabinet. The tile is fighting with the countertop for attention. Nothing fits the way it should. The problem is materials can look completely different in different contexts. That tile sample that looked perfect in the showroom might feel overwhelming in your actual space. Colors shift depending on what's around them. And lighting. I've seen the color of cabinets shift from inside of a cabinet showroom to inside of the homeowner's house. So make sure that you take your items to where you're gonna be doing your renovation. And let me go into scale, because that changes everything. What seems subtle as a sample might dominate when it's covering an entire wall. I see this constantly with whites. Someone picks a white quartz countertop and a white subway tile, and then realizes that the two are totally different whites that actively clash with one another. Now you're either living with it or you're replacing expensive materials you just installed. Both options are horrible. What solves this? Having someone who's done this hundreds of times, looking at your selections together, not in isolation. Someone who can tell you that marble's gonna feel cold with those wood tones, or these 2 materials are competing and that one needs to go, or that hardware choice is gorgeous, but it'll disappear against those cabinets. It's not about whether you like each piece. It's about whether they work together as a cohesive design. And that requires seeing the full picture, your specific lighting, your existing finishes if it's a renovation, and how everything relates at scale. You need curated selections, not random shopping. Someone helping you make decisions with full context instead of isolated choices that seem good individually, but they don't really connect. So mistake number 2 is shopping individually and ending up expensive materials that don't work well together. Get help seeing the full picture before you really buy anything. Mistake number 3, ignoring cabinet specs and ending up with non-functional spaces, which is probably the most frustrating because it's so completely avoidable. Beautiful kitchen, gorgeous finishes, everything looks exactly like the inspiration photos. And then you actually start using it and realize it doesn't function. Open one drawer and it almost hits the drawer next to it. The cabinet door can't open all the way because it runs into a wall. The dishwasher might hit the bottom of a toe kick when it's open. The pantry has gorgeous pull-out drawers that are just too shallow to hold anything useful. Upper cabinets are mounted a little high and you need a step stool to reach them, which means half of your storage is effectively unusable. This happens because everyone is focused on aesthetics and nobody's checking mechanics. The design looks great on paper, but nobody verified the dishwasher door can actually open without hitting. Nobody checked whether the corner drawers can be opened simultaneously. Nobody thought whether you can comfortably stand at the sink without your knees hitting the cabinet doors. These aren't small details you can overlook. These are daily frustrations you'll live with for years. Every single time you open that drawer, or every time you think about that shallow pull-out, every time you can't reach inside of a cabinet, you'll regret it. You know what? This is completely avoidable. Just need someone to actually spec everything out and build it correctly. Make sure everything fits. Count for swing doors, drawer clearances, appliance dimensions, space walking around an island or pinch points. Verify the refrigerator door can open all the way. Think through where you actually need deep drawers versus shallow ones, pull-outs versus fixed shelves. When cabinet specs are done properly, everything is documented. The contractor knows exactly what to build. There's no guessing about the dimensions or the clearances. Everything's been thought through, from the functionality and the aesthetics. You know, function first, then beauty. That's the order of operations. So mistake number 3, ignoring cabinet specs and ending up with a space that looks good but doesn't work for your lifestyle and your dimensions. Don't let that be you. All right. Mistake number 4 has been coming up on a few of my videos. Design for Pinterest instead of actual life. It is not surprising. Everyone is on their phone. Everyone is planning and dreaming about their next beautiful renovation. I see it. Someone sees a feature on Instagram and of course it looks incredible. Or you've been watching my channel and you're like, I want that. But nobody stopped to ask, will I actually use this? I'm not saying don't include trending beautiful things. I'm just being brutally honest about whether you'll actually use them. Because designing for the life you think you should have instead of the life you actually live leads to beautiful spaces that don't serve you. What solves this? Asking honest questions up front. How do you actually use your kitchen right now? Do you cook every night or just on the weekends? Do you bake? Do you entertain? How many people typically come? What's frustrating about your current space? The goal isn't to design a showroom that photographs well. It's to design a space that makes your actual daily life better. If you're someone who loves cooking and spends hours in the kitchen, we're prioritizing workflow, storage, prep space. If you mostly do quick meals and use the kitchen for coffee and reheating things, we're designing for that reality instead. If you genuinely love entertaining and have people over constantly, we are thinking about the flow and sightlines. If you don't, we're not wasting square feet on features that sit empty. Design with intentions for your actual life, not an Instagram post. So mistake number 4, designing for social media instead of reality. Don't do that. Design for you. Mistake number 5, handing your contractor vague instructions. And this is where even well-planned projects can go completely sideways. Someone's ready to start their renovation. They've been planning. They've got a contractor lined up. Everything's good to go. And then they hand over some reference photos and say something like this, but adapted for my space. And assume that the contractor understands exactly what they mean. Construction happens, things get built, and it's not quite right. Maybe the cabinet style isn't what they pictured. Maybe the layout's slightly different than expected. Maybe the finishes got interpreted differently than they intended. Now there's this awkward situation where either they accept something that's not what they really wanted, or they ask for changes, which creates tension and cost and frustrations you can completely avoid. Listen, contractors are excellent at building what you tell them to build, but they're not mind readers. Something like this photo, but adapted is not a clear direction. Everyone has a different interpretation of what that means. I have had projects where the homeowner and myself have had completely different understandings of what was being built. Communication was the key. So everyone operated not on assumptions, but on clear-cut instructions and ideas. Not doing this and making assumptions leads to expensive misunderstandings. How do we prevent this? Clear specifications, detailed documentations, actual drawings showing what everything is supposed to look like, sign-off sheets, material list with product names and numbers, not just white quartz, cabinet specs with dimensions and hardware callouts, finish schedules, everything documented so there's zero ambiguity. That's the difference between a smooth project and a stressful one. Clear communication, detailed documentation, everyone on the same page from day one. So mistake number 5, handing your contractor vague instructions and hoping they'll read your mind. Give them complete specifications instead, and then you will actually get what you want most of the time. Now, the question is there an easier way to avoid all this? Yes, there is. That's exactly what my expert consultation package is designed to do. Here's what you're getting: a full 90-minute private Zoom discovery call with myself and my in-house design team. We're digging into your specific space, your actual lifestyle, and what you need for this renovation you're about to do. Custom project feasibility and feedback. We're telling you what's realistic and what needs rethinking, where potential issues are going to be before you commit to anything. 3D renderings of your kitchen or bathroom. You'll see exactly what your space is going to look like with dimensions and materials before anything gets built. Making changes while they're still free. Complete cabinet specs with every dimension, configuration, and detail documented. Plus curated material selections that actually work together. Countertops, tile, hardware, finishes, all of it. And a complete design package ready to hand to your contractor. Clear plans, exact specifications, no issues, everything ready to build right on the first time. So if you're planning a kitchen or bathroom renovation or a full custom build and you want to avoid all 5 of these expensive mistakes, click the link in the description and check out our website. If you've got questions about the expert consultation or your specific project, drop a comment below. And if you found this helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. We got a lot more content coming up about design and construction that really works. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. I'm Blake from Built by Becker.